Good afternoon and welcome back to EWC Central. This is, of course, the broadcast to cover every single game happening throughout the course of each respective week. And one of the big benefits that we have here is we have the time to speak to very special guests. And I am very excited to welcome and to introduce Chris Chung, the head of APAC on behalf of Team Falcons, one of the most impressive, prestigious clubs worldwide at the moment. Before we dive into the interview and gameplay and questions, could you at least introduce yourself to the viewers, maybe explain a little bit about your responsibilities for gamers who maybe don't really understand what it means?
So my name is Chris Chung. I'm the GM of Overwatch plus the head of APAC. I've been in the Overwatch scene for the past 6 years, and also heading the initiatives for APAC because, with Team Falcons, we're just kind of starting. So, happy to meet everybody.
It's incredible. When you say just starting, I have questions and I want to talk about the club. But because you told me that you're in Overwatch, you've been involved in the scene for 6 years, I'm going to throw you in the deep end. I want to bring up Team Falcons Overwatch game that's happening right now.
Yes.
Not only are you going to be emotionally invested, but you're also professionally invested. Yeah. So while we bring the game up, very personally, Chris, tell me a little bit about your Overwatch journey, your esports journey. We've obviously got the game in the background. I just want to know a little bit more about how involved you were, what you did.
Sure. So I started with NRG. We had the San Francisco Shock. We have 2 World Championships, 2019, 2020. Been with NRG, ever since. And then this past year, I made the transition into Team Falcons because, Team Falcons has a big ambition to just get involved and dominate the whole world of esports.
Make their mark in esports. We'll dive into the club conversation. I'm somebody that's been around in esports 20 plus years. I've seen many clubs, clans, teams, orgs, whatever we want to call them from over the decades. But in this game, how are your boys doing? Is this going to be an easy 3-0 here? That's what it looks like.
We talked about it. It should be, but there's been a lot of changes. I mean, all the people that have been watching Overwatch, there's been a lot of upsets. So, the thing that we always say is, don't fall asleep on these guys. I'm expecting. I don't want to jinx myself.
You know what? I'll say it for you. Team Falcons, easy clap 3-0. You heard it from Quick Shot. Okay? Very quickly, I will ask one question about the Overwatch tournament specifically.
Yep.
Obviously, the group stage has seen a fair number of one-sided games.
Yes.
Is the disparity in skill just something that's people adapting to Overwatch 2? It is still very new at this top level.
Yeah, you kind of mentioned it. The history of Overwatch is pretty rich, but then, however, with the transition into Overwatch 2, plus the many patch changes that we're going through, it's like
there's
that's why you see,
lots to learn.
So sometimes you'll see a very lopsided game, but then sometimes you'll see a number 1, number 2 team get upset. So keeps you on the edge of your seat.
It really does. Okay, we're going to get rid of the gameplay for now if we can. Obviously, the round is just completed. That's really good timing that I didn't plan for. I want to ask you some broader questions. Let's talk about APAC. Let's talk about Falcons. What is the games? What is the goal for APAC? Frankly, what is the ambition for Falcons? Because it looks on paper like just world domination in every title.
Yeah. You kind of hit it straight on. We just don't want to be participants of any tournament. We want to be known as the best in the world, and not just in terms of competition, but in terms of how we support our players. And with the ever-changing ecosystem within esports, we want to show the world that, not just are we adapting to what we didn't before, but how we go forward from now. So we have a lot of ambition, and like I said, we're just starting, so we're excited for the journey.
I'm over the moon to hear that you not only have previous organizational experience, but looking at different regions as well, how North American Overwatch teams work. And I think in particular, it's one of the more interesting games when you consider the amount of imported players, the Korean dominance in the scene. It's quite unique in and amongst many other titles. As I mentioned, I've watched orgs and clubs and teams develop and grow throughout the years. What is something that kind of drew you to Falcons? Two Overwatch World titles with San Francisco Shock, and you walk away from that to move into Falcons. So, what attracted you?
When I talked to the people at Falcons that interviewed me with Grant and Mohammed and Jordan, they told me that they're in it for the long run, and that's something that you don't hear too many orgs talk about. They always kind of want it for the short run and just, hey, if you win, great, but if not, kind of, toss you
Generate
up.
value and sell on that.
Yeah. But, their vision on the long term kind of really aligned with how I see the future of esports as well. So it's kind of, like long lost brothers type of thing. So it was very easy to align with that.
Now, Chris, being an Overwatch guy, and I can feel your eyes being attracted to the Overwatch content on our screens, as it should be. How much of a daunting task was it taking over an entire region, head of APAC? I mean, I look at the teams, unless I'm mistaken, Falcons Vega would fall under that. I think Indonesia will be in there. Overwatch 2, I think, would fall under that. How many other titles do you have to pick up, and how many other things do you have to learn and be responsible for?
Well, I wouldn't want to take all the credit because a lot of the credit, this is pretty much a team effort. And, we're working on many time zones. We have people in the UK, in the Middle East, in the US. So we're working on multiple time zones, and every day we're just contributing. So, kind of getting into this, into the whole EWC, we didn't just want to look into one region. We looked at everywhere, and then obviously we just, Asia's a region you just can't ignore. So every region brings their own strengths and weaknesses. So that's kind of like how we saw things. And
I'll tell you something, especially when coming into this event now, I am a very hardcore esports viewer, but pretty much the major titles on either Western consoles or PC. I genuinely did not know the scope and the scale of mobile esports titles, the sheer number of titles, the huge number of players. The reason I bring that up, I've learned a lot about the different games, and I'm lucky enough to be at the entire run. I want to bring up the club championship, and I'm going to say something that's a bit risky because I have to be honest with you, I'm kind of rooting against Falcons in a couple of games. Because when we look at this table, I want to be able to look at the race, I want to look at these other teams. The problem is, your teams in APAC are expected to be in the finals or win things. I'm hearing predictions that they're supposed. The fact they didn't win Dota was a huge upset, right? The fact that even though Vitality are kind of the favorites in MLB BWI, Falcons are expected to be in the final. That has got to be both invigorating and terrifying at the same time because you have to live up to those expectations.
Yeah, you kind of hit it straight on, but our first two teams winning the titles, that relieved a lot of pressure off of us. And yeah, we're in a very comfortable lead, and we're hoping this happens. And yeah, this is just the beginning for us. So we're just hoping to, keep our foot on the pedal and not release. So
what would it mean to the entire Falcons org to be able to take home the EWC Club Championship?
Oh, it would mean the world to us. Like I said, we put a lot of time and effort into this, a lot of sleepless nights. And my hope is that we can just keep doing this every year.
I certainly want to do the same thing. I'd love to be here every year as well. Just a couple more questions before I do let you go. Let's talk a little bit about like esports in Saudi. Obviously, there's a lot of news that's just come out recently. I see the event. This venue is incredible. Like the Boulevard City itself, the arenas are great. What is it like for you seeing this kind of potentially becoming the home for many more international events?
Yeah, so this is my first time in Riyadh, not to mention, and just kind of walking down the boulevard, like it's very amazing to just see how everything got developed. We've always heard like the Esports World Cup and everything, but experiencing this in person has just been a tremendous experience. And not to mention Team Falcons, we have our headquarters here and we have our nest over here, so kind of have an extra sentiment. And
so did you say your nest is here?
Yeah,
and
correct.
That's what you call the headquarters? It makes perfect sense. Sorry, it's the first time I've actually heard that personally.
Yeah.
Phenomenal.
You should check it out.
Phenomenal. If you take me around, I'd love to come check it out.
Yeah.
Chris, one last question. Sir Majid,
Correct.
Only Saudi player?
Yes.
To what extent?
Correct. Yes.
What does that mean to Saudi and like Overwatch? Because it's not a game that you typically associate with the region, right?
Correct. Well, Sir Majid is actually the timing is perfect. We have Twisted Minds, and majority of their players won the Overwatch World Cup this past November, Sir Majed was actually on that roster. So there's a little bit of, I should say, like a little mini storyline going on there. But you know, we got a lot of saying that, oh, Sir Majed is on the All-Korean roster. He's just there for PR purposes. It's like, no, definitely not. Sir Majed provides a lot of value.
These teams are not going to be putting PR players on their rosters with the amount of prize money, with their prestige, with the respect. You put a player there because they have to be there, right?
Absolutely.
Now, you're allowed to decline this one. PUBG Mobile didn't go well for Falcons. Quite a shock result. MWI is going to be a challenge, an uphill against Vitality. And then for Overwatch 2, I'm hearing that you should be in the finals, but Crazy Raccoon might be the favorites. As a potential silver place finish in 2 games, are we going to see Falcons picking up more trophies?
Yeah, you know, obviously everyone's focus right now is to just, you know, win the whole thing in their respective titles. I mean, you mentioned with Crazy Raccoons, I mean, we've been consistently getting second place with them, and we're just hoping we get revenge on them. And, you know, I think it's a pretty good storyline that we have going, but, you know, and we're kind of like midway through EWC, and for our future titles to come, you know, we're just hoping to pick up the title.
I will say this, I think it would be impressive if you did, specifically because for the games, the storylines, and the fact that both Falcons rosters for this weekend's titles would need to upset the expected favorites. Beautiful story.
Yes.
If it doesn't happen, we still get a beautiful story and that club championship stays alive.
Yes.
I'm going to wish you the best of luck. I give you an opportunity. Would you like to say anything to the fans, to the viewers, to the broader market? Because we're covering 3 different games here.
For sure. You know, I think the whole Falcons brand, Team Falcons brand has always been in the Saudi Arabia region. But, you know, we just want to say that, hey, we're really ready for the world. And if you see in our respective titles, we just have teams from all over the nation, or all over the globe, so to say. And, you know, in the coming EWC, you're going to be able to see a lot of our players. And, you know, like I said, it's just the beginning for us.
Just the beginning. I tell you what, it is a terrifying beginning for every other club competing. Chris, thank you so much. I'm very happy to let you know that you did win that map against Twisted Minds in Overwatch.
Nice.
Smashed that one while we're chatting. I appreciate you focusing on the interview as well. It would be hard for me to do. Thank you so much. I'm going to excuse you. What we're going to do in the interim is jump and take a look at the Mobile Legends Bang Bang live look-in. Let's hear what the casters have to say.
I'm not so sure about the CC.
A dive hero, Lapu Lapu.
That's the next best. Tams maybe? Tams seems safe. I'm not so sure if a hybrid has in here or they play the Benedetta. That's another alternative. Doesn't have much CC though, like crowd control.
But, okay, right. Technically it could work because I'm thinking about the chip right now, and the chip has so much value, being that it has so much leeway around the map. If they want to go for macro,
that's right.
It's very difficult to go for that split push.
Which is odd because one of DMX's main strengths, at least I'm assuming, is their team fighting. They're really flexing it now if they want to go for macro in game 2.
So what's the plan here?
Collapse. Just shortcut fight. Shortcut fight. Here we go. This is interesting. This is one of Sikoshi's pocket picks, the old favorite in Benedetta. You notice how you still have the Harith open, you still have the Claude open.
Claude's banned.
Oh, never mind then.
But yes, the Harith.
The carry open, but she still goes for the Bea. It's just reliable.
And it's